All right, we are live, right? Good. So we are live on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And what we are going to talk today about is the importance of evidence and proving to the government that your family and you want your family here and that your marriage is real and all that. So what we are trying to prove is that your foreign national relative is entitled to be in the United States because you do have the family relationship. Basically, they are your parent, child, spouse, whatever it is, that you are a US citizen, that if you have entered into a marriage, you entered into a marriage for in good faith to form a real life together with your spouse. So that's what we are going to talk about. Okay. So as usual, if you have any questions whatsoever, put them in the chat and I will try to address them. So if I looking, it's because I'm on multiple platforms at the same time. So all right, cool. So you guys have questions, please put them in the chat and I will address them. So in the meantime, let's talk about the importance of evidence in family law cases, family immigration cases. So we are not going to address family cases, meaning divorce cases, child support, temporary custody, and any of those things. What we are going to address is importance of evidence for immigration purposes when you are filing a family-based petition. So we are looking at US citizen or permanent resident of the United States filing a petition trying to sponsor their parent, child, or spouse, in some cases, fiancés as well. So what evidence do you need to submit? Depending on the particular category, you first have to show your particular immigration status. So if you are a US citizen or you are a permanent resident and you're sponsoring somebody else, first thing you need to show is you are a US citizen or you are a permanent resident. Then you need to show the relationship. So if you're sponsoring the parent, you need to show your own birth certificate and you need to show that your parents' names are listed on the birth certificate. So if you're sponsoring your mom, your birth certificate reflects her full name. If you are going to sponsor your dad, your birth certificate has your father listed as the father on your birth certificate. We see that quite a bit in children who were not born what government calls in wedlock, basically when the parents were not married to each other. And we see that quite a bit. So in that case, you need to show that either the parent, the father legitimated the child before their 18th birthday, or we need to show DNA. We need to show that the father was involved in the relationship, the father was involved with the child, supported the child, and so on. So first you need to show your own immigration status, then you need to show the relationship. So in case of you sponsoring a parent, that's what you would show. Now the same, of course, happens when you are sponsoring your child. You need to show up. You need to be listed on your child's birth certificate. Okay. So again, if you are a mother, you will be listed. If you are the father, you need to make sure you get listed, and you need to make sure you get listed as when the child is still under the age, and you probably need to go, depending on the country, you need to go through some legal process to make that happen if that didn't happen at birth. What you need to prove in terms of marriage, in terms of divorces, prior divorces, because you need to show, for example, if you're sponsoring a spouse, you need to show you did meet together, you didn't get married through a proxy. If you use the marriage broker, who did you use? You need to show that you are indeed married. If you're married, if you're a fiancé, that you have met in person at least once in the past 2 years. Otherwise, you cannot sponsor a fiancé. So you need to show the relationship, okay? So that's what you need to prove in terms of relationship when it comes in proof of legal relationship between you and the other party that you're sponsoring. So if you are married, again, you need to show the marriage certificate. Now, many people come to us, for example, and they say, well, I'm married. Have you been married before? Yes, I have. Have you divorced from the previous spouse? Yes, I have. Okay, in which country? And it turns out that the divorce in that country may be sufficient for purposes of that country, but is not sufficient for purposes of immigration. So that happens quite a bit, where people come to see us and we tell them, well, I hate to break the news to you, you're not really married to your spouse. And it happens more often than you think. Okay. And sometimes it's not because the clients want to skirt the issue or they don't want to do the right thing. They just really do not know. So before I go further and discuss further evidence on marriage-based cases, let's address some of the questions. I see no questions on Facebook or YouTube yet, so let's try TikTok. All right, so any update on I-129? I don't know what update you're looking for, so I don't know how to answer that. After I-485 interview, I got a notice of intent to deny to file 601. Who will make the decision? Same officer, or will it go? It depends on where your 485 interview went. It usually is somebody else who makes the decision. If you're asking that question, though, that means you have a particular concern about that officer, or you have a particular concern why the officer is asking you for the 601 waiver. So Sandeep, you might want to tell me a little bit more about that. And if it's too much to put on a social media platform, give us a call, book a consult, and we can go over that. Did you already file the 601? Did the officer request that you file a 601? What is the cause of inadmissibility? I enter US with my B1, B2 with visa, all my family. I apply for asylum, pending status. Now, can the children travel, or can you travel with the children? If you applied for asylum, you should not leave the United States. First, your B1, B2 is no longer valid. If you're leaving the United States before they grant the asylum, okay, you could be abandoning the asylum application. Make sure that if you are traveling, you have what's called advance parole. If you have the work permit and advance parole, okay, your case is pending in court. So you need to be very careful. We tell all of our clients, regardless of the circumstance, if you applied for asylum, do not leave the United States. And under no circumstance, you should go back to your country. What is going on at NVC? My husband's waiting for 7 months to get documentarily qualified, documentarily approved. You might want to follow up every 60 days or so. NVC is significantly backlogged. So you want to check the NVC portal, the SEAC website. You want to check it on a regular basis. Make sure they are not asking you to submit the same document over and over and over again. Okay. It happens very often where you submit the document, you submit it properly, you see it right, and then when it gets to their end, they are coming back and they are saying, oh, you sent it upside down, and you didn't. But that's the way they see it at the end, and they don't care, so you have to resubmit it. And you have to do that a few times. Unfortunately, not much you can do about that part, except stay on top of it and send it over, okay? When to expect interviews for Pakistan? It depends on the category. Okay, it depends on the category. Or have you been waiting for a long time for your interview? Under what particular category? Okay, I'd like to know more. So you're saying your husband is not only not documentally qualified yet, but he's also waiting for an interview in Pakistan. This is the way it works at the National Visa Center. So you're not even in line to be scheduled for an interview until you become documentarily qualified. So documentarily qualified first. That's what your focus needs to be first. And then the consulate in Karachi needs to tell NVC, hey, for the next month, for example, right now we are at the end of February, okay? Before the end of February, NVC will get a list, will get a notification from the consulate in Karachi that will tell them, you can schedule for the month of April, not March. You can schedule for the month of April. They're always a month before, okay, month further. You can schedule, for example, 3 interviews for the month of April, or you can schedule 300 interviews, or you can schedule 2,000 interviews for the month of April. It depends on the volume. It depends on the staffing. It depends on what politically is happening. It depends on many, many things. When you are in the queue, it really has nothing to do with your case or your husband's case. It's really a matter of first case in, first case out. So you just need to get there. So you should focus on getting your husband's case documentarily qualified. If you seem to be having a problem and it's not happening, you might want to give us a call. We can try to see if it's anything we can do at that point, okay? Somebody's asking for the waiting time for K1 visas and what are some of the red flags for K1 visas. Oh boy, where do I even start? First, I would need to know if your I-120, your fiance's I-129F was approved. And if it was approved, then I need to know your consulate, where exactly it is located. And then I can probably look into that and let you know. Red flags for K1 visa. Not have met each other, but have not met in the last 2 years. That's a problem. You are not of the same, perhaps background, or perhaps the same cultural background, perhaps, listen, somebody from, say, Switzerland, they are going to marry somebody in South Africa. Okay, maybe. Is it going to be easier if they marry somebody who is also from Switzerland? Sure. Is it going to be easier? Yes. Is that necessarily a red flag? No. People marry people from all over the place all the time, but you have to overcome the presumption that's not real by supporting documents. And what evidence do you need to submit for that? How many times have you met? How many times do you guys chat? How do you see each other? How often do you send each other gifts, letters, all the other things? Are you sending money to each other? Are you sending, are your families talking to each other? Do you have pictures? Have you met in a third country? Okay. How long have you been knowing each other before you even became engaged? So all those things need to be proven before the K1 visa is approved. So of course, first you have to make sure that the party in the United States is a US citizen. A permanent resident cannot sponsor a K1 fiance. Okay. Can I resubmit Form I-864? Well, it depends on where you are in the process. If you already I'm assuming if you are the petitioner, theoretically, yes, you can remit. You should not resubmit the affidavit of support until the government issues a request for evidence. I'm living in US right now. If I apply for asylum, will I be detained? No, applying for asylum doesn't make you detained. Depends on how long you have been here. I'm atheist from Islamic country. Go ahead and apply. Assuming you applied, okay, I saw. But we already discussed this question. I think you joined my live a couple of days ago, and we already went over this. You can apply for asylum. It's my understanding you have been here. You have been here longer than than a year. So you're trying to apply for asylum after you've been here a year. That's a little bit harder to prove, okay? Your husband's waiting for interview. He already got documentally approved, documentally qualified. It's been 7 months. Is CR1. Yeah, great. So listen, here's what I'm thinking. It may be CR1, but the longer you wait, it might not necessarily be in your husband's worst interest. If at the time he has his interview, you have been married for over 2 years, and based on what you're telling me, it takes forever. It took forever. If that's the case, he's not even going to be CR1. He's going to be IR1, which means you're saving a lot of time and money when he's coming here, because he might not need to apply for removal of conditions. He would have probably a full green card without having to apply for the 751. So it's not necessarily bad. You want to look. If it's only been a year, then yes, you want to push and you want to get him here sooner. But if you're a year and 9 months, a year and 7 months, don't push. Don't push. Wait a few more months, and then he's coming here and you avoid the whole removal of conditions thing. I'm a citizen. What's the waiting time for petition for my unmarried daughter in the Fiji? Did you apply already? Depends. Let's see. Unmarried child, and you're a citizen. Let's see. Yeah, because when I'm on video, it takes a little bit of time to pull it up, okay? Let's see. You're from Fiji. Hey, I want to retire there, okay? Let's see. So unmarried, I'm assuming your daughter, okay, so she's over the age of 21. She's unmarried, have to be. Right now, they are processing applications filed in September 2015. If your application for your daughter was filed after January 1st, 2017, you still have to wait. If you filed it before January 2017, not 2015, she can apply already for the visa, okay? All right. My partner and myself dated for 6 months before meeting in Dubai, and you're engaged. Perfect. Then she needs to sponsor you. And I'm assuming, because it's only been 6 months, that she filed, assuming she already did file your I-129F, that takes a little bit of time. Let's see. You guys can see the processing times online, okay? For most of these cases, there is, look, you can see, go to USCIS processing times, and it will tell you how long the cases take, okay? So depending on your location, where your fiance lives or whatever, a fiance visa could take 15.5 months in California, could take, let's see, if it's in Texas, 15.5. It's probably the same thing everywhere. Let's see online if they filed online. Yep. So no matter where you look, you're looking at a long time. 6 months is not long enough. How to reach out to you? My information, you're on TikTok, so my information is on my bio. You can go and see it, or you can give us a call. Our number is 954-231-4840. All right. How do I waive my interview? First, I do not know what type of interview you have. I don't know what type of application you have pending. So I'm assuming, let's say you're welcome. I'm assuming your application, it's a family-based application, and you filed for green card and you just want to waive your interview. It depends on your history. Let's say you came to the United States, you overstayed your visa, you married a US citizen, you've been married for a bit, your application package is solid, then they might waive the interview without you having to request it. If there is any red flag whatsoever, anything whatsoever on your application, there is no way they're going to waive that interview. Now, why did you only file an I-130 and not file the entire green card? Is that because you entered without inspection? If you entered without inspection, they are not going to waive the interview. So you're going to have to go, U.S. citizen spouse would have to go to the interview. Can I travel international with advanced parole? Ooh, that is a solid question. So let's talk about that for a second. I have a few more minutes. So you have advanced parole. When they are going to grant, when they are going to give you advanced parole, the advanced parole's purpose is this. The government gives you the advanced parole and says this on that application, on that form, on the approval, it actually says, during this period of time that you are getting the advanced parole, we are not going to consider your application abandoned. If you come back into the United States, you can resume the processing of your application. What people fail to understand is that the advanced parole document, generally, it's issued by USCIS, that's Homeland Security. When you're coming back in a country, it's a different agencies allowing you back in the country. They are not obligated to allow you back in the country simply because another government agency gave you the advanced parole. This is why we tell all of our clients, do not travel on advanced parole. That is why, because you could be stuck outside. If you have an application pending, it doesn't matter how long, you stay put. You stay here and you wait for the government to make a decision on your case. I filed marriage on AOS, okay, in February 2022 in Maine, and now it says actively reviewing. How long does it take? Oh, that is like having a crystal ball, and it actually says, and I'm not making fun, I'm serious, it's ridiculous. And it's asking, how long is it gonna take? As long as the government wants to take. Actively reviewing doesn't necessarily mean a person has it on their desk looking at it for 5 minutes and making a decision. That's not what it means. It means at this point, you met all the check boxes, you submitted the fee, you submitted your signatures, you submitted whatever you needed to do, and it's right there. But other than that, doesn't mean anything. That status really doesn't mean anything. All right. She lives in North Carolina. Yeah, 15 and a half months. Can you expedite I-130? Generally not. Okay. Been listening, great help to our question. Thank you so much. That means so much to us. We try to help as many people as we can. All right. Okay. All right. So obviously we cannot please everybody, and that's okay. All right. So thank you everyone for joining. We'll talk to you. Oh, Diaz, sorry you missed it. We talked in the beginning about the importance of having evidence, proper evidence submitted for immigration purposes when you're filing for a family member, when you're petitioning a family member. My wife filed for me when she was LPR, but now she's a citizen. Great. Depending on the category, you might move up the list a little bit. All right. Awesome. I will see you guys, I think, again on Wednesday, depending on my schedule, about the same time, about 3:30. Okay. See you soon. Good. Get your questions ready.